to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah, hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
Hi there, folks. I'm Dan Hollifield. Welcome to Last Man Standing. I don't know how long we'll go on tonight, but with me at the moment is Joe Bachman.
Good evening.
Trillana may make an appearance later. I doubt seriously if Dawn is going to join us because she's spent a hard day at the Muncie factory. So she is very tired and got all her steps in as well as a few extra. Aside from that,
the wife did
open book.
message me saying she's on her way, but she is fighting yarn right now. Which, if she's getting tied up upstairs, I may be leaving here very shortly.
If she's getting tied up upstairs, why aren't you there? Speaking of which, we can ask her now. She found the handcuff key. Your plan failed.
Oh. How are the cats behaving?
They're locked out of the craft room. They were trying to hep.
Hello, Thesis.
Hey, Bladed.
So which particular yarn was it that decided to entangle you?
It was this one.
That is a ball of... That looks like a ball of yarn in a bag.
That is a 1 pound ball of yarn.
They look like one of those puff mushrooms you've brought home before.
It's about the same size, yeah. Far less delicious.
I wouldn't want to cook with either one of them.
Actually, the puffball mushrooms aren't bad.
No, you just got to marinate them. It's kind of like tofu.
I have rather strong feelings about tofu, and they're not positive.
Well, it's like tofu, except it's not fermented or beans.
Beets? I can handle beets.
Beans.
Hey, Cap.
Hey, Cap.
Yeah.
I've been sitting here kind of slowly plugging away at the story while we were on
Take your time.
stupid o'clock.
Take your time. You don't have a deadline here. Your deadline is this the best I can do? And Cat needs a link, so let me. Oh, I don't even have that fired up. This is going to be interesting. Wait while the program loads. Da-da-dum. And yeah, this is. Is close. I do not want to enter a PIN to be able to use this.
Nope.
Sorry, Messenger is not letting me do anything right now. Probably because of the thunderstorm last night. And I can't even shut it off. I know how I can. Because I have Task Manager on standby.
The only problem is when it joins them instead of tries to defeat them.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cap. I can't. Once I said it, it's done. But I ain't got time in the show right now. Let me see if I can do it the hard way and go through. Let's see, this might take me a minute to type, but
Oh, while Dan's doing that, did you submit your time, dear?
Oh, of course I didn't. It's only Thursday night. Whatever. I didn't even know what day it was last night. I'll do that real quick.
And I'm asking you this as I'm getting ready to submit it on my phone.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yep,
I did not include my snarky comments into my daily, by the way. I was
why not?
professional. Because those comments were catty. They were super catty.
It's fine.
I'm pretty sure I don't want a government record as with the phrase, were you born stupid or did something happen to make you that way, included on it. And that was of the comments that almost slipped out of my mouth last night.
there we go. Yeah.
Why do I always have to be the one to make everything difficult?
It doesn't matter. And that just evidently I wiped out the YouTube as well. Oh well.
no.
I'll get
Wait,
it back. In order to comment without anything that I say being to every destination programmed in the StreamYard, I have to use the YouTube on my iPad, which is my account, not a StreamYard account.
Oh.
So
what was it asking you a pin for in Messenger then?
Oh, that was Messenger on this computer.
Oh.
Messenger on the iPad says, "Hey."
Oh, well, whatever pin you set in Facebook Messenger, it's the same pin for everything.
I don't know what that is. I'll have to look it up in my.
You think some of us remember those?
Seriously, I've been online since 1995. How big do you think my memory is?
I'm up to 4 numbers behind some of my passwords because they keep expiring. So I just go up or, shift one somewhere. Like, come on, man. I'm out of passwords. Stop asking for new ones.
They have to invent new digits for me to do this.
I'm going to have to start using like cuneiform or something here.
Oh, if they ask for a special character in something, pull up character map and get something out of Greek.
It's going to have to be wingdings or something. Like, we're running out.
I used to love the Wingdings font.
When I worked at NDOT, well, even now, we still have to change our Citrix passwords every 90 days.
90 days.
So I started off, when I first started there, you didn't have to have a special character. And then later on, they added in having to have a special character. And you couldn't reuse the same password twice within, I think, like 4 or 5 times of actually using it. So I started off with number 1 and an exclamation point at the end. And I'd run through all the numbers. And then it turned into 1 with the @ symbol and ran through all the numbers. And then it was 1 with the pound sign, ran through all the numbers. I made it all the way up to the $ before I left NDOT. And then when I started with RQAW, because it was a new account, because IoT in their infinite wisdom didn't just reactivate my old one, I got to start over again with 1 and an exclamation point.
Well, you know how they say don't use the same password on everything?
Yeah.
I have a password so complex, I can use it on everything.
There used to be a website where you could have one password and it would scramble it specifically for each website. Like you would tell it, hey, this is for my Amazon, and it would scramble it in a certain way that it would be like, okay, this is your same base password, but it's completely different now. So you could use the same password, but it isn't the same password.
You know who actually devised special characters for passwords? Cryptologists. Because if you look at it, you take the number 3, that's an E flipped backwards.
Yeah.
Exclamation point, obviously 1.
We know thesis. This has been readily apparent.
7 for an L, all sorts of stuff. But my one password that I frequently use comprises of 6 special characters, 7 numbers, and 4 letters. And if you run that through a sequencer, it would take 100 billion trillion years or one lucky guess to crack that password.
Oh, the day I left work, I had to renew my computer's password through company policy because it was time, not because I was retiring, because the company network did not know that. So I went to the Leet Speak generator and I typed in retired.
Nice. Perfect.
And that was a fact. And then I typed it in and printed it out so that my supervisor can get into my computer. And then it goes, hey, you got 121 days before this thing asks you to change it again. I don't have the faintest idea who is using my computer or if they threw it in a dumpster or what. I don't care. I'm never going to have to go back in that building again. So.
No. Whatever IT person had to wipe that computer got a giggle out of it, though.
Yeah.
No IT person would wipe it because it's got too much information inside that is vital to the company. So they're just going to have to go, okay, we need to change the email address to point to the new user, and you have to pick a new password, and you can't use this one.
So the program we use to actually enter in our dailies and pay items and stuff like that, which is called Site Manager,
I've
we're
heard of them.
running on such an old version of it. Version 3.15b, if I remember correctly.
Aren't they like the version 7 now?
Probably.
They came out with Ashtaware Project, which has replaced Site Manager. But
Ashtaware is a whole other can of worms.
yeah, well, Site Manager is made by Ashtaware,
Oh yeah,
but this version is so old. The password has to be between 4 and 8 characters. Cannot have any special characters in it.
it's terrible.
That's
And all
reverse
you have to
bias
do
for
is
you.
play stupid to IoT when it's time to reset your password. Call them up and go, "Oh, I forgot what my password is. Can you guys reset it?" And they'll change it back to password all caps, which makes you, of course, change your password. The system is smart enough to, if you type in password all caps, it knows that is a temp password. You have to change it. You can then go back in and set it for the same exact password again.
See, I've been doing it like an easier version of that. I've got 2 passwords that I know will work, and I just alternate them, and it lets me.
Most people set theirs up to the changing of the seasons. Because winter, spring, summer, and fall
That makes sense.
all
But
work
yeah,
within that 4 to 8 constriction.
I've got 2 that work, and that's all I use, because if it's not one, it's the other.
Hmm.
I have an entire file. I mean, there must be 150 entries of passwords that I've had to create that, for some reason or another, either could be exactly the same as some other program that doesn't know this other program exists, or has to be totally different. And then they came up with, oh, it's got to have a special character.
Mhm.
I'm going, well, I'm a special character. I'm the one typing it in.
So-
Now, our system at work, actually, our computer logins, we are allowed to use passphrases.
Mhm.
So I can actually type out a whole sentence for my password if I so choose.
I did find out they allow swearing in that passphrase as well. Just so you know.
Don't tell Tony that.
You know he's
Yeah.
found it out on his own.
No, he hasn't, because I know his password into his computer.
Oh, so do I, but that's just one of his normal passwords. But
Yeah.
yeah, they allow swearing in the passphrase. At least they used to.
Now I kind of run a remote into my computer at work and see if
And change it.
yeah.
I used habitually something that was probably easy to guess and something I'm the only person on earth who knows. And it's got nothing to do with where I grew up or a pet's name or anything else.
Mhm.
One of my friends, God rest his soul, asked me, he went to this engraving booth once and got a Zippo lighter.
Mhm.
And he asked me right then and there, what date did Blake 7, the TV show, happen? And I go, "Ooh, that's a good one." And I came up with a number off the top of my head. But time passing beyond Star Trek or anything else. And he goes, "Great." Had it engraved, gave me the lighter.
Nice.
as a
Nice.
gift.
That's
So
cool.
I told my wife if she can't find the file with my passwords in it, look at the lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Actually,
other one should be perfectly obvious to anybody that knows me. So, you know.
there are a few accounts that I have with some of the things that I do in contracted IT that I keep a one file BitLocker. One file. And it's just a text file. And there it is. The string of passwords that I cannot release or keep openly on an unsecured device anywhere.
Hmm. I just have
Oh,
mine on the notes feature on my laptop. But to be fair,
Well,
you need to use a password to find the passwords, so it's secure-ish.
well, that's how I have mine set up. Is to get into my computer, you have to first know the PIN. But
Mhm.
then with a third-party program, as soon as you put that PIN in, it throws you right back to the lock screen. What's the
Ah,
password?
yeah,
So
you've
you
got
think,
MFA
oh,
on.
I got it, I got it, I got it, I got it. And it's like, God damn it.
So a buddy of mine used to have a contract with DirecTV doing installs, and he took a bunch of the old hard drives out of their DVRs.
I've done that.
I've done it too. I find them laying around. I'd be like, ooh, what movies do we have in here?
Mm, I just format the
Those
damn things and then use them for blank hard drives.
There's a time period though, and I don't know if they still do this, that you had to have a special DOS program to get those to spin up.
Run DOS run.
I remember that. It was the DOS spin up command.
It was
And if
WD
you,
spin up. It was the Western
yep,
Digital specific.
yep, the Western Digital spin up command. If you didn't know how to do it, you would brick that drive.
No, it didn't break it. It powered
Oh,
it
the
up.
ones I,
It
the
never
one,
it never spun it up though. So if you turned on his computer, the main hard drive was a normal hard drive, but
you know,
all
spindle
it had
drive.
on it was the operating system. So you could turn on his computer, if you knew his password, you could log in. And you could see in the side of his case that he had 6 other hard drives in there. You'd go to my computer, it'd show the C drive, and that was it.
Oh, okay. So he's running himself. I was about to say, how was he booting
That
up?
doesn't surprise me at all with him.
You had to know where he had his USB flash drive hidden to have it boot from that first, run the WD spin up, have it do a soft reset to the computer so it didn't totally power down, and then the BIOS screen came up, unplug the USB so it would boot through. And then you had access to all his hard drives.
He had the electronic equivalent of those like Victorian desks where there's like secret panels everywhere.
Yeah.
That was just the electronic version of that.
Yeah.
Was he a
Well, we couldn't figure.
was he a rival to Edward Snowden? Jeez, that's a. What was he got? Did he have NSA shit on that computer?
Let's put it this way. He could have very easily just thrown a patch over his eye and started walking around with a wooden leg.
Yar.
So pretty much any version of Windows you could ever want, Office, several other programs. I mean, we had terabytes of data between hard drives, and it was pissing him off at first because at first he had to keep one of the one of the DVR boxes nearby his computer to use it to get the drive to spin up.
Because the firmware had the spin up command in it.
Yeah. until he finally was able to find, he finally tracked it down and went, oh, okay, I just need to make a DOS bootable USB and
Run it as a batch.
yep.
I remember those
Oh,
days.
I used to love batch files. You could do so much.
Hmm.
Now, Dan, you are a
Window.
Doctor Who. You're a
Go
Doctor
ahead.
Who fan, right?
In the
Did you look
extreme,
at the
yeah.
background of of his screen?
I'm going to throw a link here in private chat that you might be interested in. I don't know if you ever look at Humble Bundle.
I do, and um,
Nice.
if those are not Target novelizations, I will be very interested because I've got all of the Target novelizations. Um, Believe me, when it comes to books, I have entirely too many physical books. I've been loading up my Kindle with, oh man, there is an entire new series of uh, Doc Savage books that are brand new
Oh,
and fit right in with the 182 classic stories, and they're written by people that are either Doc Savage historians or one of the folks that have been contracted to do some really neat stuff in universe for that.
nice.
Um, yes, they are very good. And there's also the same arrangement for Sherlock Holmes, which I haven't yet to
Ooh.
explore. There's also the same arrangement for um, The Shadow
Ooh.
and
Hoo-hoo-hoo.
yes, and Green Hornet, and brand new stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, I have been very, very. Basically, it's the wild adventures of whatever character,
I love it. We used to
and
have
it.
the Shadow radio show on. Well, it ended up being on CD eventually, and we would listen to that whenever the power went out.
I've got a few of the Maxwell Grant novelizations of the old pulp magazines.
Nice.
Not very many
Hey.
because they didn't show up in a bookstore that often.
Yeah.
And I was in college, so I had a limited budget.
Hmm.
Fortunately, I was young. I didn't need to eat very often. Uh, yeah. And then I found these, and I'm going. I got to do a deep dive into the Shadow. I've got to do a deep dive into Green Hornet.
Hmm.
Um, I need to. Well, are you familiar with a writer named Philip Jose Farmer?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
He wrote a biography of Tarzan and a biography of Doc Savage, in
Okay.
which he researched every literary, movie, TV show, whatever resource there was, and then pieced them together into a coherent timeline.
I love it.
And the conceit of those two books was this is an unauthorized biography of real people under their assumed names.
I like it.
He even traced the genealogy.
Oh, dang. So he really went into it.
Turns out Sherlock Holmes and Doc Savage were slightly distant cousins. It turns out that, well, basically the Wold Newton game basically is how you tie all these literary references together into one big quilt.
Okay.
There were, I think, about 14 people in 2 or 3 horse-drawn carriages that were riding through this backwoods area of England, and they witnessed a meteor strike.
Hmm.
The meteor just happened to be radioactive. And everybody on those carriages, including the horses, got these genetic boosts
Okay.
from the radiation. And every descendant of any of those became some kind of hero. So, um, and I'm sure there were a couple of dogs on there because I think somebody even tried to tie in Lassie and Rin Tin Tin. And
It's awesome.
yes, Black Beauty and Trigger, and and that's just the non-human characters. But uh, you can go into the Wold Newton website if it still exists. It should. There are a lot of scholarly essays in there that before they started putting stuff out in print for money
Hmm.
would give you this huge connected universe of Pulp Fiction and earlier and later, just tying everybody together. Uh, I mean, oh, it's very awesome. It is one of those things. If you stumble into it, you better have about 6 weeks vacation because you are not wanting to stop for any reason except for occasional seldom meals. Uh,
I can eat and read.
yeah, can you cook and read? Yeah,
I got
nowadays.
a husband. He's the one that does the cooking.
Ah, oh, Lindsay and I went to the 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 local grocery store just down the road. Not the big grocery store, but the local one. We went in there for a couple of frozen dinners so that she wouldn't have to cook on a busy night this week.
Hmm.
We bought $100 worth of groceries. I'm just going, hey, okay. Oh, and that's a nice cut of steak right there.
Hmm.
Um, so we got stuff for a long time and lots of fixins to go with it. And I'm going, all right, what can I do with this particular jigsaw puzzle? Ah, oh, thesis, yes, Green Hornet, mostly because of Bruce Lee, but still,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. In China they called it the uh, not Green Hornet, but they called it the Bruce Lee show or something like that. Hey, it got people to watch. Um, I like the fact that they were equal partners and not uh, the main hero and sidekick. No, Bruce Lee was not a sidekick. He was just as equal.
The Kato show. Yeah.
The Kato show. There you go. Uh,
Did
fun
any
times.
did any of y'all watch the roasting of Tom Brady yet?
Mm-mm.
Nope.
I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm just gonna say it is hilarious. It's on Netflix. It was hosted by Kevin Hart. It is the first time Netflix has done something like this live.
Oh,
And
they did it live?
There's plans for more.
Huh.
But I mean, and fair warning, if you don't have Carl-like humor, not for you.
Oh,
It is
please.
100% not safe for kids. But it is absolutely hilarious.
I grew up with the Dean Martin roasts after
Yeah.
midnight with no filters.
Oh,
I've heard Don Rickles go off. Okay.
I literally sat right here last night while the storm was passing for me, Dan, and I almost passed out laughing sitting right here watching that show. I mean, I was at the point where I looked at myself and I was like, I touched my face. I was burning up in the face. I took my phone and threw the camera on in selfie mode. I was red getting into purple. I had been laughing so much. It was non-stop. Oh, man.
What's really weird is that YouTube has got some of the totally uncensored Dean Martin roasts.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Jeff
going,
Ross was there.
there's a few of these I remember, and I don't remember those jokes. It's a very green room.
Did you change your thing, Trey?
Oh, my doesn't need roads.
Yeah.
About what was it? 2 weeks ago?
I missed last week, so yeah, I didn't see it then either.
Yeah.
So what's the story behind that one?
So I do road construction. So I do road construction inspection.
Oh.
So it's just kind of an irony.
Yeah. That most
I
of our
think
shows go
the
off the
struggle bus-
rails.
Yeah, the struggle bus went off-roading was what it was that night.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need roads except for a paycheck.
It's fine. It's
Oh,
fine.
tell them about your fun and excitement the last few nights.
You and I have very different meanings of fun. Excitement, yes. Rage is usually a better word. So
Well,
we've
just
been
because
doing
you wanted to tell the one girl off.
multiple times. It's fine. So past couple nights we've been doing, well, for the past like couple months we've been doing triple lane closures.
Ooh.
So we're taking 3 lanes, including sometimes the acceleration deacceleration lane. So it's like 3-4 lanes that we're taking, leaving 1 lane open. Apparently people are very confused when they see a line of cars, a row of barrels, and then empty space with flashing lights, and they think they should be driving in the flashing lights. Spoiler alert, they should not be, because sometimes there are holes and, people there. So we had multiple cars go around the attenuator trucks and just try to run us over. One intentionally tried to run us over.
Okay, wait. Okay, I know a little bit about it, but attenuator truck, is that the big road barrier?
So we actually do have a road barrier truck. That's a mobile barrier unit.
Yeah.
But the attenuators, they're the ones with the stuff on the back. So if you hit them, it cushions the blow and it'll.
Yeah, that's what the barrier truck. The big.
So the barrier truck is actually set up completely different. They're actually 2 different things.
So the attenuator is the one that has a thing that just flops down. It's just a big crush zone.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's meant to take an impact.
Yeah, same thing. Okay.
They were so far apart because you hit them, they're going to roll forward. They're not rated for semis, so they're definitely going to roll forward if a semi hits them. But they were far enough apart that cars were coming between them, and we were getting no warning, so there were just suddenly cars on us. One aimed for us. That was really cool. He started driving up, and one of the workers, and I don't know if anybody's aware of this, but construction workers are angry. All of them. Just all of them. They're full of rage. And they're tired. Yeah, there's the mobile barrier unit. So we were working in that area.
Yeah, like the thing on
And
the
they-
back there.
Yeah, the
thing on the back
attenuator is the
there,
thing on the
yeah.
back.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, so we were behind that. But they're full of rage. And then on top of this, they're tired because we're working midnights. And some of these guys are also doing stuff during the day. So one of them goes up and he's like, hey, you got to stop. There's stuff in the road here. We're here. Stop. So this guy comes to a stop and then starts rolling up on this guy like he's going to hit him. So at that point, you have 6 people in construction gear with shit in their hand, stuff in their hands, ready to throw down because we are tired and angry. And you are not hitting one of us without coming out unscathed. And so we had to tell him, like, hey, you got to back straight up. There's wires there, this and that. No, he drove off. We got the license plate, whatever. But the attenuator drivers, half of them were like, oh, we didn't even see that. You kidding?
I wonder why.
Awesome. So then last night, where they increased the number of barrels so people wouldn't be weaving in and out. Kind of helped, but people were still weaving in and out. But we had a car come in and go out, and we said something about it. And the lead driver said, I didn't see that. That never happened. This was the one that was upset that I was taking pictures of the MOT because that's my job. And then she tries to gaslight us. So now I'm mad. And the phrase, well, if you watched traffic almost as much as you watched me, you might have seen it, almost popped out of my mouth. Somehow the filter engaged. So we had another car come past them last night. They didn't see it, no warning. I'm like, what are they doing back there? They're supposed to be maintaining traffic. That is what they're hired for. I was like, if they're not going to give us any warning, they might as well park those trucks and just leave. Oh, all right, whatever. Then a dude walks through our job site. I am on the interstate, 8094. There should be no pedestrians on the interstate, ever. So just some random dude that looks like a crackhead walking through our job site, no warning. I was like, guys, I don't need you to get out and fight them, but a little warning of, hey, you might get stabbed would be nice. Because that's happened to TCS before. They've, like, their lead guy almost got stabbed by a pedestrian walking up on a job site. So yeah, then I said something about that, and I hear over the radio, well, tell safety if they had ISP out here. And I was like, 1, I'm not safety. I'm the inspector. 2, ISP is not at my beck and call. They got people, they'll bring them out here, but if they don't have people, I can't force them to have somebody out here. And 3, maintenance of traffic is your job. What do you want from me?
Right.
That's when the phrase, were you born dumb or did something happen to make you that way, almost came out then. I was like, if I can't put it in the daily report, I shouldn't say it. Don't say it if it doesn't go on the government document. It will get you in trouble.
Oh, they're going to be pouring concrete out there Saturday nights.
Yeah.
And if she needs help, I'm volunteering to go out there with her.
I'm going to go off if it happens again. That's done. It got to the point the contractor I was working with were parking their trucks angled in front of us so that if something came up, it would hit the vehicles first before us. You know, like the attenuators are supposed to be doing, but they're so far back. Yeah.
You want me to come up there as a temp worker, stand guard my HK?
Oh no, I'm good. I'll get somebody a flat tire and a face match.
Somebody gonna see me sitting out there with an AR on my chest. They're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I better merge over." And I'm better not fucking.
Really?
Joe had to yell to keep me from jumping over a barrier wall and punching a dude in the face. So trust me, I got the construction anger too. Like he almost caught a hard hat to the face and then my fist after it. Oh
Lord.
I'm scrappier than I should be.
And she's been trained by Nick Tucker, so look out.
Yeah. Well, we had a guy come through the job site a couple years ago.
That guy.
that we saw him slow rolling through, and he was talking to one of the workers,
Again, one lane.
and so we walk over and we ask the worker, we're like, what, what's this guy's deal? And he's like, oh, he was offering us water and food and this and
snacks.
that. And then we start talking to somebody else. He's like, oh yeah, he's also offering us drugs.
And we're like, you gotta go, man. This went from wholesome and sweet to you gotta go.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I told him, we told him, you're causing a traffic backup. It was right by the Calumet Avenue exit, which
That place is...
had accidents damn near nightly when we had the lane closures going on.
That's also where we had the drive-by shooting.
Yeah,
so,
several times.
It's
never shooting at us. They were shooting at each other as they were heading towards Illinois.
It's a magical place. It's like Disney
on
crack.
I went back to my truck to pull it up closer to the workers.
Jesus Christ.
And I thought, because I'm inside the truck, I got, the radio on and shit. From the angle and being right next to the bridge and everything, the way everything kind of reverberated sound-wise, I thought it was like engine backfire.
Oh, God.
Well, it didn't help that we really didn't react to it other than, ugh.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Uh-huh.
So I hop out. I'm like, anybody else hear that engine backfire coming, that vehicle heading westbound? They're like, that wasn't engine backfire. That was gunshots.
There was muzzle flash back and forth.
Yeah. They're like, we could see the muzzle flash in the back windshield. Awesome. Going back to my vehicle now and grabbing my 38 and putting it in my back.
A lot of people did. Like, you just saw them casually walk back to their trucks and come back, and there were suspicious bulges in places.
Hey.
Oh.
Well, there was one night.
Knowing me, I have a thin profile plate carrier.
Mm.
I mean, it's level 3, so it's not like level 4 and big beefy FBI looking shit. But
well, the running joke was we needed those in like retro reflective safety.
Well, that's what I would do. I'd take my damn safety vest, I'd put it right on top of my body armor, my plate carrier, and I would do the. Have you ever seen somebody that does the inside the armor holster mount, where you can just literally go and be at the red? That's exactly where I'd have my shit. Right there.
I should not have access to a firearm at work because there will be so many death investigations. It's bad enough I carry my work knife. Like that.
Well,
somehow people have not had flat tires.
There was accident last year, or not last year, year before. There was an accident already on eastbound. We're working on westbound side. Okay. There's an accident on eastbound, and fire department was already on scene. There was already another officer there. They had called for another officer to help with traffic control. So officer was on the eastbound side. He activated his lights. Car in front of him takes off like a bat out of hell.
You knew something was up with him.
It gets better.
No, it gets better. Said car ends up nailing the fire truck. Sends a set of
stairs.
Set of the stairs off the side of the fire truck across our barrier wall and into the windshield of one of the foreman's trucks while he's sitting in it.
Oh Lord.
Hopefully Scooter was wearing his brown pants that night. I don't know if he was.
I asked. He said if he wasn't, he was afterwards.
So Guy Rex gets out, takes off running on foot, leaves his injured passenger, severely injured passenger, because that was the side that hit the fire truck.
So stellar.
Leaves them in the vehicle. He takes off, hops the barrier wall into our zone. As two of the laborers come pulling up to see what all the commotion was, sees this guy running from the scene. They get out, pull their guns,
Yeah.
tell him to lay down on the ground until ISP got over there
Uh-huh.
to take over.
Yeah. Nights are wild, guys. Like,
The
and
thing
days
that
are
pisses me
just
off the
wild.
most, the thing that pisses me off the most, and this is coming from the side you guys have to deal with, the drivers. This is me as a driver, is the fact that people can't fucking zip or merge if their life depended on it.
Yep.
Merge is a personal challenge up here.
Oh, it's a challenge down here in Atlanta
They
too.
go merge. So make my own lane on the shoulder or go through the construction site. Okay,
Yeah.
guys.
Oh, me, because you guys know I have a Durango, so that's a pretty good sized vehicle. I'll
Mhm.
sit there and cock block whatever number of lanes I have to stop everybody behind me and be like, no, you're gonna fucking learn today that when it says get over at this point, then I will straighten my shit up and we can proceed.
Mhm.
And I have seen so
Well,
many people behind me sitting there.
we get people that will try and run the outside shoulder, and I'll move over with my work truck, turn on my lights, and I'll just keep slow rolling with traffic, acting like I'm inspecting something there on the shoulder.
I did that the other night because they were trying to zip through the closure. And I was like, I think I need to inspect right here. And I just parked. I didn't even slow roll. I parked. I had my lights on and I was
Mhm.
pointing at stuff out my window.
Well, and you have a black GMC Terrain that looks almost like an unmarked cop car
Well,
until
I
you
still
turn
had
on
the
that top set
construction.
of lights.
Yeah, I had the.
Yeah,
They were
if it
doing
wasn't
it.
for the lights, it'd be like, is that a cop?
Oh
Wait a
yeah.
minute.
Oh no, I've had people, because I had a black Terrain also when I first started doing this job, and I was heading from we were working on 94. I was heading from we were doing a bridge project, so I was heading from the westbound side over to eastbound. So I'm going around the different little ramp loops and shit. And I'm coming down the final loop. All of a sudden, the people in front of me are starting to pull off onto the shoulder. I'm looking in my mirrors going, I don't see any emergency vehicles around. And I looked down, I went, oh, I still got my lights on. They thought I was an emergency vehicle because I run red and yellows on top.
Mhm.
So they kept seeing the red and a black Terrain and went, oh shit, that's a cop that's wanting to get through. And
Yeah, see, that
Well, I'm
wouldn't have got me because I would have saw the yellows and I'd have been like, oh no, that's construction. You can't have yellows on a unless you're an ambulance or a
oh,
battalion chief.
we had ISP had a I loved this truck. I was so disappointed they had to they didn't get rid of it. They had to take the decals off of it because I think someone was probably claiming that it was entrapment, which if it wasn't, it was very borderline.
It was
Um,
hilarious, is what it was.
so this is back when I actually worked at NDOT still. Me and one of my coworkers are sitting out there on the job site. Nothing for us to do because they're doing demo. And we see this white NDOT pickup truck come pulling in. Got the NDOT logo on the sides, got the yellow light bar in the back, and they come pulling in the job site, and we look at each other and said, who the hell got a new vehicle? Or who's here from central office unannounced? Because we're getting ready to call our boss and be like, hey, you might want to get out here. And they pull behind the barrels. All of a sudden, the state cop hops out of the vehicle, walks up to the back corner with his little laser gun, took someone's reading, decided that was too fast of a speed through the job site, hopped back in, those yellows turned into berries and cherries, and he was gone.
There's
Wait,
a
so
couple of them right now that look like NIPSCO utility trucks.
Hmm.
Like they straight up just look like utility trucks. They have the enclosed bed and everything, and then it lights up red and blue.
Yeah, I just don't think they can have any logo if it's going to be unmarked. It
can't.
has to be unmarked, or it has to have the ISP
Yeah.
insignia on it. But the guy had a cover for the trailer hitch that said "faster than a speeding ticket."
I'll tell you one that scared the crap out of me, and Lindsay has yet to forgive me for it.
Ooh.
We had to go to a town that we had never been before to pick up somebody and give them a ride to a convention in Atlanta.
Hmm.
It's a 45-mile-an-hour drive on this divided 4 lane. And I get up to a certain point and I see the barriers and I see the blinking lights. And then I see the bridge on my side of the 4 lane no longer exists.
Mm-hmm.
And I consult the GPS and I go, give me an alternate. I tried 4 times to find a way around through some suburban neighborhood to get on the other side of this bridge that only half existed. And the GPS kept putting me right back in the same spot, right back in the same spot. It was a Thursday afternoon. There were absolutely no workers anywhere. And I'm looking at my wife and I'm looking at the road and I'm looking at the GPS and I go, we've only got a mile and a half to get to the dude's house.
Oh God.
Honey, cover your eyes. I'm about to have to do something dangerous.
Oh no.
I am in a 300 horsepower Kia van. And the only route I have to get to this guy's house is the wrong way on a divided 4 lane, which only half exists. I have to go across the bridge that is actually there because there's no way I'm going to Dukes of Hazard over the part that ain't there.
Oh, come on. That's fun.
Yeah, until you're on the way down into the freaking river below.
It's fine. It's fine.
No, I told her to cover her eyes, and she goes, "Hell no!" And I've got every flasher on the damn car going, and I'm sitting there. I've got it in park. I rev the engine. I drop it down into drive, and I gun it. And spun tires. I'm sorry for those rednecks who think that front wheel drive is not good. This scattered like a scalded cat, went across the bridge, up a hill about 100 yards, and then I was able to get in the correct lane.
God.
And Lindsay's just going, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." I'm just, honey, there ain't nothing coming. It's Thursday afternoon. It's not rush hour. If there were, there'd be people working here.
You
So
know what you should have, Dan? You know what you should have told her? She's British, right?
yeah,
At least I'm driving on the correct side for you, honey. That's what I would have said. Honey, hush. At least I'm driving on the proper side for you.
what I wanted to say, but I couldn't was just close your eyes and think of England. And
So look, I'm
Wow.
looking at Thesis's comment here, talking about how he heard people admitting the crimes or showing where they hide their drugs on site. So I-94 has cameras about almost every mile up
Really
through.
good one.
Yeah, they're every mile up until you get to I-65, and then they're a little more spread out. These cameras, they can sit there, zoom in on a license plate a mile and a half down the road, and read it crystal clear.
Are they flocked?
Huh?
Are they flock cameras? FLOCK?
I don't
think they are.
know.
I don't think
because
they
no,
are.
'cause
If they are, they didn't tell us.
Yeah.
because usually that's a trait of a flock camera is it can zoom down on your plate, filter out everything around it, fire an IR blaster at it, and get a clear reading
Oh
of
no,
your plate.
these you can.
Is it a little
So
ball
they're
or a bird up there at the top of the pole?
yeah, it's a ball because
Yeah.
they can sit there and rotate it to look east
Yeah,
west
it's
whichever
so it's
way.
PTZ. That sounds like a flock camera.
So they'll sit there. We call it the war room. Okay. Over at the Gary Traffic Management Center, they have a room that their dispatchers, for all intents and purposes, sit in. That the one wall is nothing but a line of TVs all the way across, up and down. Each TV is hooked up to a corresponding camera.
Or zone.
Well, back then it was hooked up to corresponding cameras. Now they actually have to flip through because there's so many damn cameras.
Yeah.
But Gary only had access to the cameras that were in this area. The TMC down in Indy had access not only to their cameras but also ours up here. But talking to the girls that work in there, they're like, "Oh yeah, you wouldn't believe some of the stuff we've seen during traffic backups." I said, "What do you mean?" They go, we get bored sometimes in between calls, so we start zooming in during the traffic backups, and you see people rolling joints, doing lines of coke. We've seen several people getting roadhead.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, there's
Crystal clear on
there's a
camera.
couple of videos on YouTube of a traffic camera with a long stop, and next thing you know, the guy you thought was alone in the car is not.
Mm-hmm. But they also have the ability to disable said cameras from the live feed to the website, which I think sometimes when there's an accident, they will disable the camera that's nearest to it.
Yeah. That's usually a
Normally,
good way to find out
there's
if there's a fatality.
right.
Yeah.
It's either a
Yeah.
fatality or it's a horrific looking wreck.
Yeah.
Or it might be just them being bored and going, let's see what these people are doing while they're sitting in traffic.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Because the still picture will update about every 5 minutes.
Mm.
They've finally re-added the feature back onto their site that there's a little play button you can push down the bottom left corner that gives you a live 30-second view of that camera.
Ooh,
I love that
nice.
feature. It's great. It makes me happy.
Y'all,
if
you look at this, you'll wonder why I say my Durango looks like a trooper or something. I got the screen share up. Now tell me this doesn't look like somebody running as a UC.
Dan's gonna have to pull that up. There we go. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah,
okay. Joe's terrain.
That actually looks almost exactly like our Chief's vehicle, because Chief
Well,
runs the Durango.
It's a 2018 SRT, so and it's spitting 589 at the wheels. So you could play with me if you want. I will catch up to you. I've had that thing. I've had that Durango. Now this is a 5,900-pound Durango. I've had it at almost 170.
Oh God, I wonder if I have access to those photos.
Uh-oh, Dan's in his muscle car moments now.
No. It's not a muscle car. It's a family van. It's a freaking.
Is it the Hellcat?
It's a freaking minivan. I mean, seriously.
I really wish they would do the Dodge Caravan again, but put it in that Hellcat package.
There's a video of the Hellcat like station wagon just doing circles around the cop, like literal circles. He's just running donuts around him before he takes
you're talking about the guy that took a Dodge Magnum and converted it into a full-on Hellcat crate motor in it.
Yeah, and like Why are you chasing him? You're not catching him.
You ain't catching this guy.
He was gone by the time they turned around.
I think though that guy actually called the cops and said, "Look, I want to make some content because everybody knows about that car. Everybody knows where he lives. He is so popular. It's like the cops would just be like, "Oh, we'll just go to your house and wait."
Right, like we got, and it was a very good video, and there was nobody else there.
Yeah,
but yeah,
so that was more than likely staged. Yeah,
it was cool though.
It's like Hoonigan, Ken Block, how he does all his shit,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just sitting there running donuts around all these buildings and obstacles. You'll see the cops all in the background, but it's Ken Block. Everybody knows Ken Block. But this guy's really famous for that Magnum Hellcat crate conversion.
Yeah, I watched I was working one night. They were doing a traffic switch, and normally when they're doing a traffic switch, we go out, we get a head count, and then kind of stay away because they're moving traffic around so much that they forget we're out there. And then next thing you know, you're looking in your rearview mirror and you got traffic bearing down on you. So I would go out, get my head count, go back to the office, and then just figure out, where about they're at. Because normally the TMC would have the camera facing, where they were working at. And I just keep playing the 30-second live feeds. I'm probably the reason why they had to get rid of that for a little bit, now that I think about it. But anyway, there was a police chase going through our job site. So I followed it from camera to camera, playing the 30-second feeds all the way to the Illinois state line. Like, oh, well, he dipped in behind the barrels after he got around the workers, so that's a plus.
Right? That's rare.
He didn't drive through the fresh paint. That's even better.
We'll put a link up if y'all want to see us running that Durango through West Virginia. Have you ever heard of the place called Dingus up in the Coal Mountains? Breeden, Dingus. Okay, well, there is a 7/8 mile long tunnel that used to be an old railroad tunnel.
Okay,
I've known several dinguses, but
amen to that.
Anyways, this is a 7/8 mile long, perfectly straight tunnel, and this is me and my buddy. This is actually where I had that Durango almost up to 170. If y'all want to watch it at some point, there's a video in launch mode going out, and then another one coming back. Now, on the one coming back, there's a speed limit sign right outside that tunnel. It's at 35. When I crossed that speed limit sign, I was still doing 139. But
that's several points on the license.
Oh, that's instant seizure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In West Virginia, they actually do have a law because there's a lot of places where there's just long mountain winding turns and long straightaways, especially on 119. 50 or over, you're going to jail. You lose your vehicle. You lose your license, a year minimum. Because people are just absolutely ridiculous out there on 119. But on the return, though, listen to the growl because I had it full ass open.
All right, I found it's not the best picture, but on the day of the missing bridge, this is what anybody would have seen coming up the wrong way on the existing half of the bridge.
Nice.
Oh God, that's beautiful.
Wait a minute, you got a front corner out. Oh, let's give him a citation.
Hey, it's not my fault. That's a manufacturing defect.
You know what? If I saw that going up in a job zone, I'd be like, that's got to be one of us. It's got to be one of us.
That light bar on the top makes it golden, though.
Hey, I made that myself.
Nice.
What?
That is a piece of aluminum tube steel, and I mounted lights to it. There is actually a camera in the middle pointing forward,
Nice.
as well as a backup camera that I can switch on to use as an additional rear view mirror
Mm-hmm.
attached to the license plate. So I can see somebody going, "Oh, I'm going to pass this motherfucker," and by the time they disappear from my 7-inch, no 5-inch screen on the dash, they're showing up in my driver's window. This thing illuminates blind spots like nobody's business. I highly recommend. The only problem is the forward facing camera is also a backup camera. So
Mm.
it's widescreen instead of
Yeah,
narrow focus
it's got a
because
fisheye lens.
I can't find a standard focus narrow focus camera to point forward. And as much as I would like, even though what I've got does do infrared at night, and I can see deer standing in the middle of the road going, "Is this that Hollifield dude again? We got to move. We got to move. Come on, baby, we moving." Um, uh, seriously. But that I had everything except sirens going because I ain't got no sirens. But I could have. Um, they have those kits
Oh
now where you can put PA
Hmm.
speakers
no,
on your CB, which I do have, uh, and
no.
just go, "Excuse me, get the fuck out the way, coming through. Move aside and let the man go through." Um,
Just don't be like them boys down there in Atlanta where they be playing the music on the PA while they're driving through the town.
oh no, but I've seen one where
I
some
know they do it in
company
Athens too.
there's some company that has come out with LED wheel covers.
Oh yes,
Hmm.
So
and
you
they
can
program
actually be
messages on
showing a
them.
movie as you're driving down the road on your tire hubcaps.
Now they got those flexible LED things you can slap in the middle of your windshield, and it'll say like it'll do this, or it'll say "F the popo," or it'll be red and blue flash. I'd be like, I see you flashing red and blue. I'm fucking calling.
Yeah. Oh, we've
And
got
the
one
company even
car.
says, no, we're not responsible for that. I bet I'd be like, okay, you keep doing that and
We've
let them have that mode. Somebody's going to sue you for it.
we've got one car that it's not the cops. I think it's the truant officers
Mm.
use.
Oh, SRO? Yeah, school resource.
And it instead of having blue lights, which is what our cops have right down here, it has Green Hornet green lights.
Oh, that's Bomb Squad up here.
Hey,
Oh,
we
really?
Yeah.
They actually
Yeah.
have their own discrete color? Now, do they have a statute for that you can't run green
Yeah. You can't.
as a civilian?
Yeah. You can't run that like neon green here. Some of the contractors have it, and they haven't been pulled over because we're close enough to state lines. But yeah, that color is actually Bomb Squad up here.
Huh.
That's why NDOT hasn't put it on their vehicles like Michigan did,
And Ohio.
and Ohio. Everybody around us, essentially.
Ohio runs a green and white on their plow trucks.
Hmm.
The
Yeah,
good
I was going to
lord,
say,
it could be a whiteout, and I'm pretty sure you can see that that bastard coming
Mhm.
through.
Oh yeah, them greens on the snow, it just makes the snow turn green. You're like, oh yeah, let me get the fuck out of the way before I get tilled over by this plow.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I got one for you, Joe. Buddy of mine actually works for ODOT, and he's a plow driver, and he's also one of the technicians for the light bar systems.
Mhm.
They run 64-volt LEDs. They actually have to have two 24-volt batteries to assist them with their light bars because
Mhm.
they can also throw pure green in a spotlight mode.
Mhm.
So that if you see the world around you in a snowstorm turn green, you absolutely know I better move my ass or I'm getting plowed by a 10-ton truck.
Hmm.
See, they see us, they just don't care. They're like, "That's a snowplow. I'ma mess with them."
That
Why?
I had a
the
friend
only
of mine
the
almost
only light that I haven't put on the van that I really would like to.
Oh God, here we go.
Oh, the
Night
kid
Rider.
car?
Night Rider, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
You know what I would want to put
I
on
saw them
mine?
the other night.
Oh yeah, they make them.
Yeah,
They
well,
do make them.
Oh, I know they make them. Yeah, I
yeah.
could buy one easily. It's just going. How much trouble am I going to get in?
Yeah, the red is what's going to get you in trouble because no state allows you to run red.
Oh,
Not pure
Um,
red.
no, but if you make it like pink or purple, you can slide by. Um, what I thought Dan was going to say is, you know them fucking spotlights they got up on police helicopters? I could see Dan mounting one of them 1.4 million candle power sunspot spotlights inverted up on the roof of his van with a little turret controller right there on the dashboard. You know what, honey? Let me get rid of these deers for you in a quick second. Bling.
Buddy of mine had a set of lights up on top of his pickup truck that he is turning them on, showing me. I'm like, oh, they're not that bright.
Oh God.
Yeah, he followed me home from after we got off work the one day because I lived out in Wanata at the time. He lived over in Union Mills, which was just east of me. And it's dark out. And he comes up right behind me, turns those on. I swear to God, it was fucking midday inside my car.
hey, if
48 volts or go home.
I had my way, those lights on the light bar that I made would pretty much be close encounters.
Hmm.
People come away
Now,
from you having radiation burns.
I
now,
actually got to play with one of them helicopter spotlights once. I was when I was in Civil Air Patrol. We were flying around with State Patrol, and of course, GSP might have gotten in trouble if this got published. But we're well past, and this is like 20
We're
years
past
ago now.
statute. It's fine.
Oh, well past now. Anyways, GSP said, he looked at me. He says, "You want to have some fun?" I'm like, "Okay," because I was sitting right in front of the pedestal for the sunspot light. He reaches up, and I see exactly what he turns off. Nav landing off. So now we are running military now. We are completely blacked out. There is not a single light on that helicopter revealing where we are. We know they could hear us down there at base camp. He says, "All right, take the panel. You got the TV as well, and we're gonna slave it to the spotlight. So whatever the camera's looking at, the spotlight's now looking at." And he walks me through the whole process. He puts it in FLIR so we can see the entire base camp down there in the middle of 2 a.m. darkness, in the middle of the swamps of South Georgia. And he says, "All right, when you're ready, make sure you have about a 20-degree arc on the spotlight because at the altitude we're at, it'll basically paint the entire campsite." I says, "Okay." I dial it back, and you can see where it would show you how wide or narrow the spotlight should be. And I got it about as close to 20 degrees as I could. He says, "All right, hit the red button." So I hit the red button while the FLIR is looking dead at the campsite. All you see is people just go scattering. It's like,
Like turn on the light in a room full of cockroaches. Just
The funniest part is my squadron commander, the senior commander, not the cadet commander, the senior commander, which is the adult. He's standing there looking up at us. He just goes,
I mean, how else do you respond to that?
I actually have a set of Jeep headlights with the red lenses. I mean, we're talking World War II Jeep headlights
"Oh, so you're talking blackout lenses?"
Nice.
with the red lenses
Yeah,
that
the red
own,
blackout lenses. Yeah.
and they will trigger the IR camera perfectly. I have yet to be bold enough to install them on the van because I'm going, if I drive down the road and happen to flip these on, there's going to be either a county mountie or some cop that lives on this road that is going to go, boy, you in a heap of trouble now.
Well, now I wonder though. I mean, if they're blackout slits,
No, they're not slits. They are full
oh, the
red
full red.
lenses.
So they look like the old Michigan State Police when they had that the
Uh-huh.
the wigwag red lenses on top of that single spinner.
hmm Oh, and there's a junkyard close by that has a couple of police cars from the uh, Mayberry era.
Nice.
All the lights, everything, just sitting there on either side. Right next to the driveway. They've got a I don't know if it's a Fiat or a British sports car that has been up on this lamppost for decades.
Nice.
Oh, okay. I've been there. Yeah. So you know how people like to mount cars on like gas station signs and stuff.
Mhm.
That's what this is. They've had this old. It's either an MG or a Fiat that's been sitting up there for onwards of 30 some years.
Oh, almost 50.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
saying, as far as I've known, it's been about 30. But yeah, I know.
Um,
Hey, have you been over here to the school bus graveyard just north of me?
uh, not north of you, but there's the school bus graveyard just on the other side of the place that has the sports car on a pole.
Oh, well, there's one that's famous up here by me, just up 365, heading towards Toccoa.
Oh,
I haven't seen a school bus graveyard by us. I have seen a concrete truck graveyard.
I've seen a crane graveyard too. That was cool.
Oh,
there
I
by
would
20.
I would love
there
to
was
play
one
in there.
place I don't remember where it is. Cement truck took a curve too fast, lost the barrel
Uh-huh.
off of the cement truck on their way to a job, so it's full of concrete. And the natives decided this is cool. They painted it up like a NASA spacecraft.
Yeah,
And
I
it
remember
stayed
hearing
there for
about that.
decades.
The
I remember that.
NASA cement tumbler. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
So
Going back. Oh, go ahead, dear.
I was going to say, so the concrete trucks around here can actually hold 11 cubic yards, but they all run 10 because they found out at 11, they start tipping over because it would be working so hard to churn it, it would actually flip these trucks over consistently enough that they're like, we're not going to do that anymore. Our bad.
Like, going back to something that Cap said earlier about ODOT with having to run 2 batteries for the green spotlight. A lot of our plow trucks already run a multi-battery system.
Well,
And
being-
well, here's the thing though. We run a multi-battery system, and there's still certain trucks that for us to be able to run the salt spreader, we have to turn off half our safety lights.
Yeah. Yeah, that's because
Otherwise,
they're terrible.
Otherwise, the Muncie boxes sits there and flashes low voltage.
Yeah. My
Well,
brother
for ODOT,
hated working on our trucks.
the reason
Yeah,
for
her brother's
ODOT
a
was
diesel mechanic.
yeah.
He
Well,
was.
the reason they did it for ODOT is because remember the voltage I said they use on their greens?
Mhm.
64.
Yeah.
I mean, these things are like pure.
Yeah.
You look like you're in an alien world if they light you up with them.
Oh
It
yeah.
makes the
God.
air
I'm
around
sure
you
it's
just glow
awful.
green.
I'm
Well,
sure it's awful trying to plow with them. Can you imagine that
And-
coming back at you?
Well,
here's the place I was talking about.
And here's the other thing too, though. You know, we ran a multi-battery system. Sometimes you had to turn off half your lights. Other times you had to turn off half your lights because you started noticing that either your top set or the little spotlight so you could look in your mirror and see if you were spreading salt was smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the place I'm
It's
talking about,
fine.
Dan. Right here off of 365.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But see, if you look at it from the top, it is nothing but buses, RVs, all sorts of stuff. And here's the other half of it that you can't see. But yeah, every time this has been on the news many times. But if you drive by it, heading up 365 north or south, see what they do. You pay a fee, you pay a certain amount, and they'll let you come in there and paint one of those buses every so many years. Look at that.
That almost reminds me of the area that my buddy and I drove past when we were heading out. We were taking pictures for a job we were bidding on. And we called this Wrong Turn Road. Because I swear to God, if I had started hearing but ding 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 ding, I was gonna gun it.
Don't blame you.
So this property, apparently it was a junkyard at one time. And instead of putting up a fence, they used old trailers, like trailers people lived in, and cars and semi-trailers, and had them stacked on top of each other. And they've been sitting there for so long that they were mostly rotted out. And it just had this feeling of, you know, have you seen the movie The Hills Have Eyes?
It did. Oh God, it did.
It felt like that. Like we were just waiting for some creepy thing to come crawling out at us, you know,
Yeah,
half
fair
deformed
enough.
from radiation. And
It's fine.
needless to say, on the way back, in case the GPS had taken us down that road again, my buddy was holding my pistol because that was the one day he forgot to bring his.
Which is surprising.
And his initial reaction when I handed it to him was, "What the hell am I supposed to do with 5 shots?" I said, "Well, you make those count, and hopefully you'll have enough time to reload, because I have a whole nother box down in the door here."
Hey, Dan, remember we were just talking about school resource officers?
Uh-huh.
Look at this coincidence. When I came back to the street view of the highway, look who's right in front of the Google car.
Nice.
Nice.
It's the Gainesville High School SRO from Gainesville PD. And how I know is this red elephant right here, because they're the red elephants. Gainesville High elephant, red elephants. And that's their logo, and that's the SRO's car right there. I was like, there's no way that's
Whoever got an SRO.
Huh?
That's hilarious.
I wonder if La Crosse ever got an SRO. Well, Tri Township now, or whatever they're called.
They're still so small, they don't need one.
Right.
And Joe,
We didn't get cameras till high school.
I used to go primitive camping in Tallulah Gorge, where part of Deliverance was filmed.
Uh-huh.
And believe me, if I ever heard banjos,
well, the joys of primitive
I
camping
had
are
options.
less to pack
Let's
back
just
up.
say I had I was in my 20s. I was able to carry a 60-pound backpack down 1,100 feet. Most of that was food, but 5 pounds was not food. Um,
So I've been trying to figure out what I keep hearing.
That's my yarn winder.
Yeah, it sounds because I'm not hearing it through the headphones.
No, you're hearing it
I'm
through
hearing
the
it
floor
through
above
the
you.
floor, and I keep wondering what the fuck the cats are getting into up there.
Oh, I'm sure it's shenanigans because it always is.
But I
It's always
finally saw you rotating the
yarn
handle
winder.
on that.
I got tired of fighting it, so I'm automatically winning, is what this is.
Ah.
Because if I do it this way, I can splice it together and cut it when it disobeys me. I ain't afraid to cut a bitch.
Especially when it's being a bitch.
Uh-huh. Amen to
Yeah.
that.
Oh, Andrew, imagine a 2-lane back road out in the middle of nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to speed your way a little bit faster than the 45-mile-an-hour speed limit on the back road. I admit, when I grew up, it was 55. If there wasn't a sign, it was automatically 55. And you run up behind a combine harvester, or in front of, which is even more frightening, with a
Yeah.
14-foot wide, which is wider than the damn road,
Mm-hmm.
and one of those paddle wheel grain
Mhm.
harvester heads on it,
Oof.
and it's just going warm,
Oh, God.
and
What was that sound again?
it's only yeah warm, and
Yep.
it's only doing about 18 miles an hour at the utmost, but it's bigger than anything you've ever seen before that wasn't an airplane. Uh,
Yeah, I can see that being.
this, welcome to my life. This is what I used to have to do to get the combine to the field where Dad was going to drive the dump truck, which he should have let me do while he drove the combine. But no, the dump truck could do 85. I could only do about 18. Um,
I'm amused that you knew the dump truck could do 85.
oh,
Well,
honey,
okay.
I
Like,
know
that's not telling on yourself.
I know everything about that dump truck. Believe me. I oh I
And our trucks at NDOT could do 85 downhill with a
Downhill,
70 mile
fully loaded,
and a 70-mile-per-hour wind behind it pushing.
and a
I
nice
had
slick.
Dad
I
had
floored it and was
Dad
going
had the
20.
motor of the dump truck rebuilt. He was
Oh,
he was tired
oh,
he was tired of doing 50 to 60 with an 18-foot dump bed with 4 tons of soybeans on it.
nice.
He said it was because it got very bad gas mileage, but I know my dad. I mean, seriously,
Then
if it
you are
wasn't
aware.
if it
Go ahead.
wasn't moved down the road, he was going to be pissed. Uh,
You are
but no,
aware that in the state of Georgia, you can do up to 10 over, and only GSP can cite you for anything in between the actual to 10 over. I mean,
um,
it's a literal law. It literally says no city, local, or county municipality shall make a case for a speed violation up to 10 miles an hour. Anything above is valid. And the exception to that is GSP. You do one over, they can cite you. But any
they
like,
can.
but any
Um,
county, city, local, like even a university, you can do up to 10 over and they can't touch you. If they try, you can have it immediately dismissed.
We
They
had
might not be able to
a
cite you, but they can probably still pull you over and get
we
you on
had a
something else.
Georgia State trooper that was pulling people over for doing 3 over.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Because
just petty.
they're exempt from it. But OCGA does have a
Yes,
law. OCGA does have a law that says
they are exempt from it, but when it got in front of the county judge, he going, "Why you wasting my time with 55 cases of 3 miles an hour over? We gonna have a long talk in my quarters, boy."
mm-hmm.
Because this is one of the old judges
Yeah.
who's going, excuse me, what? Did nobody tell you that you could pull people over for being drunk? Or are you just stupid? Uh,
Were you born stupid, or did something make you that way?
well, evidently this Georgia State Patrol officer had been dropped on his head multiple times. Because
Georgia Special Police.
according to the news reports, he was not only reprimanded, but summarily fired for
Oh,
wasting the judge's time.
oh,
When was this?
It was about 8 years ago in Clark County.
I'll see if I can find that one.
I don't know all of the details, but the college newspaper had a field day.
oh, I'm sure.
As I was saying, I'll probably find an article on it. You guys know what magnet fishing is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
There was a case a couple of years ago, all the way down there at Fort Sumter. Not Sumter. What's that big army fort down there by Savannah? Hold on. It may be Sumter. I forget who it is.
No, Sumter's in the Carolinas.
What is the name of that big ass fort down there?
Or at least I think it is. Oh, say, can you see and all? Oh, God. If Francis Scott-Key had been Southern, those lyrics would have been entirely different.
God.
Hey, you brothers, motherfuckers, leave my damn flag alone.
That would have been beautiful.
Hold on.
And we
Let
just
me go to
still
another
sung
map.
it in church.
Fort Stewart.
Stewart. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
what it is. Stewart.
yeah.
Okay. So a couple of years ago, some guy, that one YouTube channel that's really famous for doing magnet fishing, and they're finding guns and
Hmm.
safes with parts of humans in it and munitions and everything. Well, one day they went down there to Fort Stewart, and I have a cousin who's a solicitor. Now, at one part,
Oh, you mean the legal kind, not the British kind.
That's
yes,
that's where I went.
legal. He's a court clerk for down there, and this is actually on YouTube. The game warden coming out, and they were like, "This is federal property, bro. You have no jurisdiction here. We've already been greenlit to do this because it is Fort Stewart property. That means it is property of the United States, aka federal. And this game warden apparently is a hard ass, and he
Aren't
wrote
they
these.
all?
Well, he wrote these guys 5 citations for each count of something they dragged out of the creek. Like even Fort Stewart was there looking at him like, "What are you doing, bro? This is our turf. You can't do that. You're a state representative. This is federal property. We knew these guys were out here. We weren't expecting them to find what they found, but we greenlit them." And oh my God, you should have heard the story I heard about this one. So my cousin says, "Yeah, you know that YouTube?" I said, "You're talking about the magnet fishing guys?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, the judge roasted the crap out of this game warden." He's like,
I'll bet.
your superior is my best buddy, and I guarantee you, by the time you walk out of this courtroom, I'm gonna be back in my chamber on the phone. You're either gonna be out of a job or you're gonna be all the way across the state. Mark my words. And
You know, you've got the same sort of ego problem in
oh, it was
county code enforcement officers.
Oh yes, but I mean, that judge ripped him a new one. He's like, "Why are you here? Because you wrote 5 illegal citations and then brought them into my courtroom, knowing what I was going to say. You know who I am. I know who you are. I know you've got a reputation in this county that precedes you as the hardest asshole that everybody knows around here. Even I know who this guy is, just on my cousin's word that I've been down there and I've even had an interaction with him. He is one of the biggest ego-driven. I got to get my quota. I don't care what it takes." And oh man, this judge is like, "This case is dismissed. I will call your boss by the time you get out of this courtroom and I walk back into my chambers." And the game warden's like, "Your Honor, you can't. I am doing it. You say another word and I'll have your badge right here, right now." The game warden just goes, "Ugh, yes, Your Honor."
Yeah, our local code enforcement guy shows up in an unmarked car with no badge, no documentation, no nothing, and then starts threatening people.
He's
That
lucky he
is
hasn't been shot.
illegal. Code enforcement has to be marked.
Not this guy. He's special.
Mm, right.
And
special.
The way he said that, this is how Dan is saying it.
Special.
There you go. That's exactly how Dan's saying it right there. It's in the chat box.
Mhm. Yeah.
So apparently, this past weekend, our building inspector was sitting outside his house having a cigar, and he can hear the sound of a nail gun going off. And so he starts looking through because he keeps an Excel sheet on his phone of all the different permits he's handed out recently. And he's looking, well, permits I've handed out, I shouldn't be able to hear those nail guns from here. So he decides to go take a drive around.
Uh-oh.
Finds the house, getting a new roof put on, no permit pulled. So he goes up, finds the foreman, goes, "Hey, you guys need to stop. You don't have a permit. And with it being the weekend, you won't be able to get one till Monday, with the clerk treasurer being off." And well, we need to get this done today for this person, da 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 da. And John goes, "Well, you'd be able to if you'd gotten the permit. But you don't have a permit, so you need to stop work. If you don't stop work, I will call our local police down and you will get a ticket for every man who is up on that roof." And he notices John has a cigar in his hand. He's, what kind of cigars you like? If you could have a box of whatever cigars, what would you like? And John's like,
it gets better. Oh, it gets
no.
better.
This gets better still.
It gets
John
much
goes,
better.
"No."
It's hilarious.
He goes, I know what I'd like, but no, you're not. I'm not
That's
letting
not
you
how
go
this
through
is
with
working.
this. With buying me a box of cigars. Well, I'll give you 500 cash right now. Just let us get through with this.
A permit's about $150, by the way.
Yeah, the permit for this was only going to be like $150, $200. Guy was offering him 500 cash. And John goes, "Look, you're not going to be able to bribe me. One, I have morals. Two," and he reaches into his pocket and pulls out his badge. He's on the police commission. He's actually the president of our police commission for the town. He looks at the guy, he goes, I'm also the police chief's boss. So, yeah, you're not going to be able to bribe me. Apparently, the man turned whiter than my wife and realized that
That's pretty
he
dang
just
white
tried
for
to
those of you
bribe.
that can't see me.
Hey. Sour cream is a color.
It is. It is. It's also a complexion.
It is, especially
It's
when the sun
lifestyle.
hit. Especially when the sun hit you the other day and we had reflection.
I blinded myself. So I was standing in the window and I was looking at something on my arm, and I moved, and the sun caught my arm and blinded me. I was like, "Oh my god!"
I'm over on the other
She
side.
blinded me with science.
Oh man,
Blinded
I'm
by
over
the light.
yeah.
I'm over on the other side of the room going, the beacons of Gondor are lit. Gondor calls for aid.
And Rohan will answer. Rohan will always answer.
Is that an old German air raid search spotlight or something on your arm there? You know, hey, just take a lead flashlight, angle it just right. Phew.
Oh, in this county, if somebody in an unmarked car with no badge shows up and I feel threatened,
Oh, you're
That's
getting
what I'm
shot.
saying. Like,
I
don't do that
Got
to
a
am
me.
match? Get off my
I am
property.
almost legally obligated to get out the Desert Eagle and see how far they can run, how fast.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Well, you got to be careful
And that
of that
car
because
will never be driven again. I'll tell you that.
you got to remember, though, Dan, even though we are a constitutional carry state, you cannot shoot a retreating subject. It's a law. You cannot shoot in the back or somebody who is retreating from you.
My brother
but
has
if
a
they're
backhoe.
retreating-
My mom has rose bushes. I think
I mean, I get that, but you know,
if they're retreating
you
from you,
don't get the
though,
kill shot. In case you don't get the kill shot.
here's the thing, though. If they're retreating from you, but they're still facing you, unless
That is
there's
the exception.
I was
That
gonna
is the
say,
exception.
unless there's cameras, there's no proof they were retreating at that point because that bullet hole's still going to be on the front side.
Yeah,
some
that is
bitch
the
is going to
exception,
get
though.
drug into the living room and a steak knife put in his hand. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm saying, gentlemen, is remember, bury them standing up and put an endangered species of plant on top of them so it's illegal to dig, and they won't find a thing.
For me, it's going to be I'm going to go buy 10 pounds of tannerite. Good luck finding anything. I'm gonna take you out. I'm gonna take you out where I know I can shoot it up to 1,000 yards. I'm gonna get my 338 out and a 10-pound bucket of tannerite. I'm gonna strap that body right around the side of it. I'm gonna loop that body around. I'm gonna be like,
endangered native plants. That's the way to go.
I'm gonna fertilize at least 10 cubic yards of ground there.
But then you've got splatter.
You call in an anonymous tip as to where it could be at. Allow them to dig up that area. Wait for them to leave. Go use the hole they just dug.
And for the alphabet agencies that are listening to this is all hypothetical for authors.
Yes.
Authors. It's okay.
Dad had a 5-gallon bucket full of thermite.
Hey, that works too. Char-broiled, motherfucker.
Believe me, I know where every abandoned well is in this county, and several granite quarries.
Well, you know that one I told you about that's northwest of you?
Yeah.
That's where we used to go shooting, and we were doing 1,600 yards, but then they stuck that 12-foot pressure sensitive chain link fence up there to stop us from shooting up there.
Just got to shoot through the chain link. It's fine.
Hey, my dad could have.
Well, they set the fence back where you can't even see over the ledge now to shoot across the quarry.
Oh, you don't have to be able to see. I mean, seriously.
Well, what we would do is we would shoot from one end of it, and we would have gongs and steel targets on the other end that if we hit them, you'd hear it. And we, of course, we had our spotters and everything, but we'd be out there like I'd have my 338, which is my suppressed rifle. You sit there, and then about 5 seconds later, oh, you'd hear it ring across the quarry. But now they got this big 12-foot tall pressure. You even touch that fence, it calls the locals. And they were just like, no, we don't want you out there. So here's what we're going to do. They don't even run the place anymore. There's no equipment there. It's abandoned because it's been depleted and dug out. And they're just like, no, you can't come out here. I was like, it was a whole group of us. We're like, why? There's no homes within 5 miles of any direction of this place. So it's not like we're sitting up here shooting 50 caliber rifles up into the air and seeing just how far we can land them. We're literally shooting across the quarry because it has the distance we need. It's open air. Nobody's going to get struck by anything. And they're like, no.
This is why I'm very glad my family farm is 68 acres and we own a tractor.
How long is that property, by the way?
Well, you've seen the
Yeah, I've seen the plot, but how long is
no,
it?
no, you've seen the plot of my own 2 acres. This is several miles away.
Yeah, I saw
Not
your
many.
parents' house.
Yeah, my parents' house. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a 12-acre lot. There's a 10-acre lot next door that is owned by the fellow that owns the local pharmacy.
Yeah.
And then there's 50 some odd acres right next to that is, shall we say, Dad and I constructed a lot of things there, like root cellars and whatnot.
Nice.
And we're at 8 minutes too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
snap.
I'm sorry.
No.
We've had a fun time defying authority.
Breaking the law.
I'm just saying,
breaking the law.
look. If your property's long enough that it can match 1,000 to 1,600, I'll gladly come out there. We can have some fun.
There's so many houses around. Usually, there's only one direction that anything is safe, and there's one hillside that I always wanted to set up as a shooting range because it's like
Natural
15-foot
Yeah, natural burn.
hillside. And I wanted to set up a about a dozen railroad ties sticking up out of the ground to pin targets to, so that anything that went through the railroad ties went into the hillside.
I shot 50s at railroad ties, and they're not coming out the other end.
Hey, I'm erring on the side of caution.
Even with armor piercing rounds, black tips, they are not coming out the other side of that railroad tie. But I mean, I get it. You could, if it's a nice little hill berm, you can stagger the railroad ties.
No, I was just gonna dig a trench and set them up in there as a wall, right in front of the hillside. This was where I originally thought, this is where I'm going to build my forever home. It's going to be dug into that hillside. It's going to be one of those multi-concrete dome homes with a garage that's not quite the same construction, but very similar. And up top, I was going to put as close a copy as I could of the Beverly Hillbilly shack for the tax assessors to look at.
Nice.
and have 100,000 square feet of connected concrete domes underground. Um, I mean, seriously, I planned big back in the day. I'll never
That would
have
have
the
been fun.
money, but it's a nice daydream, and I got to design all kinds of things that come in handy when I write fantasy stories where I have to go, oh, here's the castle's armaments and defenses, moats, uh, whatever. Um, and it's 50 feet underground. So make up your mind. Um, but no, yeah, I've got a little 2 acre lot here. The family farm is 68 acres in total, but there's a 10-acre bit that's
Hmm.
owned by the local pharmacist that separates the 12 acres where my parents' house is and the farm itself. And then my brother's house is built way
Yeah,
back in
yeah,
the
yeah.
back.
That crazy long driveway. We talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 2 to 4 mile driveway.
Yeah.
Um, he's got privacy. That is fine. I envy it, but mine is not quite as private. Uh, Not many people are willing to drive the quarter mile from the paved road down to my mom's house to bother her. And if they do, she's from Kentucky. You better not go there. Um, I mean, seriously. Uh, we're talking survivor of not only the Great Depression, but World War II. Kentucky girl, do not approach. Not approach with caution. Do not approach.
Fair enough.
Um, she can probably take the tail off of a gray squirrel at 150 yards with a 22.
Nice.
Mm.
I mean, Mama's dangerous. I don't even cross Mama.
Sounds like my grandma.
Yeah, and if you met my grandmother, she'd go, know where she gets it from. Uh,
Hmm.
I mean, you don't raise a family of 7 kids
Hmm.
and a coal miner for a husband in Kentucky in a company uh, environment
Hmm.
without learning a lot of stuff that alphabet agencies would really rather you didn't know. Um, let's just say cornbread wasn't the only thing she was capable of cooking up.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
Uh, all right, folks, it is 2 minutes till, and it has been a lot of fun. Let me switch over to the brand thing. And no, not the intro again, you idiot. Play the outro. Um,
Start it all over.
hey, I've done it before. Um, I have at the end of the show played the intro and then go, that's the wrong one. Um, and then clicked over to the outro, and people are watching the next day going, what the hell was that?
Don't ask questions.
Don't ask questions. I've
Smile and
still
nod.
got one beer left. Um, don't hand me no lies and keep your hands to yourself. Um, And if you're the county code enforcement officer, you better have some ID next time you show up.
Mhm.
And you better not show up for a trivial reason.
We'll start calling them in and saying that there's somebody impersonating an officer on your property that wouldn't properly ID themselves.
Um,
They
I
might
think
get a
I
little
would,
petty though after that.
I think I would have to say there was somebody here
Mhm.
impersonating. Now, would you please bring a plastic bag and take
Amen.
the leftovers away? I'm trying to cook a steak here on the grill.
My dog keeps trying to get into it. Thanks.
You're really- my German Shepherd went, "You're not a nice person," and suddenly I had to defend my dog.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm sure they weren't really important. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been an asshole. Um,
Otherwise, they would have identified themselves.
yeah, really, or showed up in a car with a sign on it, or shown me a badge,
Yeah,
or a
if you
search
don't show
warrant,
me a
or something.
badge, then nah, you, I'm gonna say you're impersonating a cop, and we're done.
I've got a badge that says I'm an air marshal from 1865. I mean, seriously, don't show me a fake one. Show me a real one, because I know.
Hmm.
All right. Good night, everybody, and thank y'all for being here. You made it an
Good
excellent
night,
time,
y'all.
and please forgive me for waffling on so much, but I enjoy your stories, and I enjoy telling my own stories as well. And nobody will ever know which ones are fiction and which ones aren't. That's the beauty of YouTube. It could be anything whatsoever. But I'm not going to be able to stick around after the end credits. So good night, everybody. Love you, and thank you very much for all your contributions. And we'll see you, if not tomorrow night in the green room, then Saturday night, hopefully, if you're not otherwise engaged.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
That all.
Transmission overload. System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.